CIA smuggles drugs while Wachovia and Wells Fargo launder them, then give the proceeds to the owners of the Federal Reserve Bank. Now the IRS takes money out of every single check. Money they created out of thin air and leave you with debt. They want to make you a serf, a slave to their demand. They want to take your life in every way they can. Fluoride, GMO, vaccines, chemtrails, United Nations genocide. The world they show us is not real. This is how they kill and steal. Rothschild, Bundy, Rockefeller, Club of Rome. On the Georgia Guidestones written in stone. Cut through the matrix, awaken to the lies. Do not be hypnotized. We are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Greetings, this is Howard Nema of We Are Change Connecticut, and you are watching Truth Talk News on truthbroadcastnetwork.com. Okay, basically, another great day that I've had today, working around getting some information to prepare for you folks, the listeners and people watching. I have to say, much of the stuff that's going on right now with a lot of the news that's been going on pertains to stuff that's happened a long time ago. And this oligarchy of control that we're under here, this New World Order, sometimes you got to look back in history to understand how it's moving forward. And I have a couple of little excerpts here that I'd like to go over today. I'm hoping that my friend Chris Freedom Flowers will be calling in. I left a message. I haven't confirmed. He did state that he would be calling, but I just called him earlier today. I haven't been able to catch him. I'll try him again in a moment. But I want to go over a few passing things here that we have. Basically, wanted to read from the work of Gary Allen, who did a fantastic job with this thought-provoking piece he wrote in 1971 called None Dare Call It a Conspiracy. It's another one of the books I recommend everyone reads, like The World Order and others that I've mentioned many times, to get a wider perspective and an understanding. And there's some sections here that I think are key and important, and we should go over that. It's a very interesting thing, referring to Tragedy and Hope, Professor Quigley's book, and the Communist Manifesto. So I think it's touching a lot on what we're talking about, and how another person's voice sort of echoes my own, written quite eloquently. And interestingly enough, you change a few things because it was 1971. It's not very much than it is today. What's happening is a continuation of this New World Order agenda, and it's moving forward at a rapid pace. So I'll go into this for a few minutes, and then I'll give Chris a call and see what he has to think about it, if hopefully we can connect. Because we have a situation where for centuries there has been big money to be made by international bankers in the financing of governments and kings. Such operators are faced, however, with certain thorny problems. And these problems, by the way, persist to this day. We know that smaller banking operations protect themselves by taking collateral, right? Sure, of course. you have a home, and this is your house, and you have a mortgage. They pay you because you don't have the full amount of money to pay for your home, so the bank gives you a mortgage. I mean, this is elementary, right? That's the small end of it. But they do protect themselves, and all banks protect themselves by taking collateral. Now again, reflecting back on this work from 1971 by Gary Allen, it's very interesting when we see how this whole Federal Reserve conspiracy, and there's nothing else you can call it, to bring forth these international banking interests to effectively, basically, protect themselves by using the people and by using the taxes and by using various other I'm trying to find the right word. I mean, it's beyond that, but they use these debts, for lack of a better word, as their leverage. So Social Security was put together to pay for the bankruptcy, to back the people up, thinking that you're thinking that it's actually so you can have a retirement. No, it actually was created to have it was created to have an effect upon the government bonds that were being issued initially. And even though the government itself, through its trusts, have these funds, the banking firms that are working with these bonds are the international bankers. And what we have here is a situation where if the international bankers in the financing of governments and kings have these problems such as collateral, well, what do they use? They use the sweat of the people. They use the effective implementation of the same thing that happened is happening again yesterday, and I cut it out of the rebroadcast, and I'm not going to do this anymore. I was fine, absolutely fine, perfectly fine until for some reason right now. And it's not like this weird I don't know, anxiety or vertigo people were thinking about, but I can't even quantify it. But it's happening again. I noticed I was able to get, because I watched the whole broadcast yesterday through it, quite decisively, actually, considering all things. But there's something really I don't know what is going on. I have to I don't even know the possibility of it, what it means. Let me give Chris a call. Alright, it's ringing. When he connects, I will put it on the speaker here. I have a speaker for this. Hopefully he answers. Alright. He's not answering. I don't know. I don't know how to really quantify this. I don't even know what the hell it is. It's very weird. Got a lot of good stuff here, and again, for some reason, my thoughts are being scattered and I can't really concentrate. And, yesterday I just thought maybe it was myself, but now I know because today I had a tremendously awesome day at work. Did very well. Really good. Thinking, cognitive, everything else that was required in what happened. And now I'm here, and all of a sudden, as I get into this topic I'm trying to get into, I feel that I'm slurred in my speech, and I'm not, because I was told yesterday that I wasn't. I cut all this out of the rebroadcast because I didn't want to muck it up, but I'm not going to do this again because I think something's happening, and I don't think it's like just my brain and oh yeah, come on, I'm not the kind of person that's going to get anxiety talking about the New World Order, okay? I'm not the kind of person, I can just rant on it, but I'll tell you right now, there's like this joggle of my mind right now, I swear to God, and I can't really put together the things that I wanted to say, and I start talking about something and I lose my train of thought, but it's only when I'm doing this. Meanwhile, I don't even know how to quantify this. It's not a meltdown, everybody. This is like there's something wrong here. I have very important information I'm trying to get out, and something's happening with my thought process. But only now as that I'm on the air, and in a few minutes it just sort of swept in again. And I know about all these different weapons these people have, the CIA that we talk about. And I know this makes it sound even crazier because, let's do this to him so he thinks, he reveals this and thinks that it's like some sort of attack. Well, it is an attack because something's not right. This moment right here where everything was fine, I had many minutes, actually. I left early from work, so I was here early before this, fine, interacted with my family, and now all of a sudden I'm on air, and I'm like, I can't think. Now, anybody who's been watching these broadcasts knows, they know how I can think and what I say and what I report. I'm absolutely sober, and I don't understand this. This happened yesterday, and a little bit on the day before on Thursday's show. It's really, really strange, and again, I don't want to appear crazy, but I feel there's something happening here. I know that's what it is. That's what they're making it seem that way, or appear that way. And the more I say, the more I bury myself as if I go into this, so I shouldn't. But I'm telling you, I was fine just a few minutes ago, and I'm not now. I'm having difficulty concentrating on this. In fact, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Listen, hon, do me a favor. Alright, my son is actually, I know this is going to sound really paranoid, but my son's got we have a Geiger counter, and we're going to try to get the rads on this because I feel like very disoriented in this right here on when I'm doing the broadcast. Here, show it to him in the camera.
It's not really any higher than normal.
Alright.
Yeah.
But it's very weird. There's like radiation feelings or something. Something's just not right. I don't feel well. Very strange. I don't even know what to make of it. Yeah, well anyway, alright, just close the door, Pat. Thank you. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, I was just fine. I was just with my family. I got home before the broadcast, and now all of a sudden I can't really think about what I'm trying to think about. and this is not some staged thing. I mean, there's really something happening here. I swear on my family. I can't understand it, and it doesn't make sense. I go outside, I talk to them, I want to come in here, I start talking about this, and all of a sudden my thoughts, as I start talking about this, my thoughts start like getting lost, as if there's some sort of a memory, like the syntax between this sentence and that sentence gets lost, and then I don't know where I'm going. I'm trying to describe to you what's happening. Meltdown, right? Yeah, meltdown. Having a meltdown. All right, that's what everyone's gonna think. All right, I'm not. There's something wrong here. All right, like yesterday, Ice Freedom said, take a deep breath, just chill out. I'm not cutting this out. I'm not gonna. This is just, again, it shouldn't be censored at all. Actually, I didn't even realize that. I just thought it was incoherent because I was really like not. I didn't feel like I was in there because I couldn't really discuss anything. But now I'm just gonna let it ride. Again, 14 minutes into the show and nothing's really been said because of this. Is that Howard Nema? Is that what I do? Anyway, God help us all, because I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to struggle through it like, take it. Just take whatever it is and just go. It is this. All right, we were talking about this book that was written by it's happening again, and I cut this stuff out the other day because it makes you look like you're not. I am not crazy. They're cutting my head up. There's something going on here, and I can't even take this anymore. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I am going to do something that I normally wouldn't do. Hello?
Howard?
Yes. Barbara, I really wouldn't have called out to you. I just noticed you were online, and honestly, I know we had talked. Chris is not going to actually be able to make it. We are online, or I should say on air, but there's a reason I'm calling. Something's happening, and it's really very strange, and it happened the last couple of days, and I never mentioned it to you, and I'm live, and it's happening again. And I sort of thought it was just me, but I've had perfect interactions with my family, right? And I came home, I was talking with them, I got home a little early. I go on air here, and I'm reading some stuff from None Dare Call It a Conspiracy. And as I'm just working on this, for some reason, as I'm doing this, and as I'm saying this, and this happened yesterday, it's like my thoughts are being jumbled, and I can't put together the syntaxes, and I'm losing my train of thought is being like, and today I had a fantastic day at work, so it's not like my memory process. It's literally affecting me only when I'm sitting right here where I'm speaking with you right now. And I kid you not, I swear on my sons, with my family's here, this is real. There's something happening when I start now. I could talk to you, but if I start trying to detail things, I lose my train of thought. I lose my all of the capacity for me to really reason what I've been trying to say. I mean, I listened to the last couple of shows, and it's like, it's ramblings, and it's not me. And I don't know but I'm telling you, I was reading, and I'm sober. I have no alcohol in my system, no drugs, and I feel like my voice is slurring. And yesterday, Ice Freedom, who is a listener and was chatting and said that I sounded fine, and I listened to my broadcast back, and I don't sound like my voice is slurring, yet I feel like my voice is slurring. And it's really weird. And I don't even know how to all right, I'm sort of like freaking out a little bit.
So what do you think is happening?
I don't know. Why would this be happening?
It happens at the computer only?
It happens like right now, like when I went on air doing Harry's show, doing my show here on truthbroadcastnetwork.com, live right where we are now. By the way, for those listening, this is Barbara Hartwell, my friend, and we talked about stuff like these weapons, and I'm just thinking that there's a possibility that they could be doing something, because I'm very disoriented when I start going into this stuff, Barbara. But it
certainly sitting in front of a computer, just on a regular level, it emanates, radiation. But they could certainly send something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. My son just came in here on air with his Geiger counter, and then the radiation levels are fine. So they're not doing, it's not radiation, but there is something happening, because I'm this is the whole thing. People that have been watching and listening to me, they know how I talk. And I was going into this, I start going into these things, and I start going, I just get lost. Almost like I'm having a TIA or something, like I'm having a stroke, like I can't think, But I'm not, because then I'm fine when I'm not doing the show. It's really weird, and it started happening a little on Thursday, and I worked through it, and then it really happened heavy. Actually, I should say Monday. What am I saying? Thursday, Monday, and then it really happened strong yesterday. It affected me very bad, yesterday's show, and I apologize for it. Then and then this happened again today, when I was just ready to, and I had time, I was calm, I was all ready to go, and it's like almost like a very it's an uncomfortable feeling, and I can't think, and I feel like sort of sick.
Well, Howard, let me just say that right now, as you're speaking to me, because you're speaking to another person now, you sound very coherent. I don't hear any kind of indication that your thoughts are jumbled or anything like that.
Okay, then let me do an experiment here, and let's just see what happens, because this is what I was doing. What I was basically doing, Barbara, is something that I've done many times, and you've seen me done it, know that I do it, is simply reading, soberly reading, unable to read, unable to put this stuff together. I'm reading from, I was reading from, basically the idea is for verbatim, I was reading, for centuries there have been big money to be made by international bankers in the financing of governments and kings, and these operators are faced with certain thorny problems. We know that these smaller banking operations protect themselves by taking collateral, but what collateral can you get from a government or a king? What if the banker comes to collect and the king says, off with his head? The process through which one collects a debt from government or a monarch is not a subject taught in the business schools of our universities, and most of us have never been in the business of financing kings. Therefore, we have not been given the problem much thought. But there is a king financing business, and to those who can ensure collection, it is lucrative indeed. So now I'm reading coherently, I feel better. It's the strangest thing on earth. It's like as if they stopped doing whatever it was. I really feel like something was happening. I'm not an alarmist here, and I certainly, this is real.
Well, Howard, that's the thing. You can sense.
I know.
When something is happening to you, and you know
it's on record. I mean, I have film of it when it's happening. I'm saying it's happening right now. I can't put my thoughts together, but I can speak. I can speak.
You can sense when it's an outside influence.
I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. And I'm just like, is there that kind of stuff out there that they could literally just fry your head like while you're talking? That's hard to believe.
Sure. But there's all levels of it, Howard. And there's anything from a very subtle thing to something very extreme. And of course, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination on technology. I'm not a scientist. I've had a lot of experience personally with these kind of anti-personnel weapons.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, I feel like as if now, add me to this mix too, because I'm telling you, and didn't I tell you, I know I did this, I reported this on air, that the experience that I had, it was probably in October, where the house started to vibrate, in my, I felt like this vibration, and, it was an uneasy feeling, and it really didn't feel good. I actually left my house, left the studio here, and went in my car. I still felt the vibration in my car, drove down the road to the stop sign, which is about a football field away, and it went away. And then I drove back to the house, and I felt the vibration come back as I passed the house. So, I mean, I'm thinking, you know, HARP and all this other shit that they have out there. And, I mean, I know this happens. So that's why I'm sort of tweaking here. I'm thinking, like, this is real. I swear. I mean, I swear on my family. I mean, this is happening. And I'm a lucid person. And I felt like I was having a stroke. I mean, it's crazy. And now I talk to you like it's normal, and they're not doing anything.
No, I believe you, Howard. I had horrible experiences over the years, and it's really hard to pin down precisely what it is. But there's one indicator that can give you some, at least, clue to why it's happening, and that would be, when does it tend to occur? You said it tends to occur when you're sitting down at the computer doing a show, or
it literally, Barbara. It's like I'm advertising the show, and they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna fuck with you a little bit. I'm not kidding, and I swear to God, I mean, that's what it is. This has been happening. It's actually got in the way of the last 2 shows, and now it's, well, this is it. So what do you say about that? And I'm even saying it makes me look crazy. It makes me look nuts. And it's like I didn't want to address it in the last shows. Yesterday's show, I actually edited out some of these sequences that seemed incoherent. But now it's like I'm just going to re-release it because I shouldn't have censored it. I mean, that's the whole idea. I mean, I'm not censoring it. I didn't want people to get the wrong idea. But then it happened again, so I'm like definitely going to it happens, and it's happening, and you can see it happen. That's what I'm saying. I've got a film record of it actually happening.
Yes, I understand, Howard. But does it happen less?
It only happened this week.
But I'm asking, is it happening less as you're speaking with me?
It's not happening at all now. I could talk to you. I don't know how far I can go, but I read that whole thing where I was just going through this, and the last time I started making a commentary on it like I would do about a comment, and it just, like, that's it. You know, it was like, I couldn't put two thoughts together. I mean, it was almost like, you know, a guitar player that was playing 25 years and couldn't play a note. I mean, I literally felt that way.
There's another question, too. To determine if there's something that's specifically targeting you, or whether it's ambient, meaning, is it affecting other people in your home?
No, and in fact, this is what's really crazy. I'm talking to you now, it's not affecting me. But I got home early a little bit today for a change. So I was actually inside talking to you know, my son and my wife, and you know, interacted, and I was fine, and, you know, what's gonna for dinner, and blah, 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 and, you know, whatever. And I come in here, and, you know, I get my cameras, I get everything ready, I turn everything on, I go on air, I start going, and somewhere after about a minute or two, and it's live, I mean, where it's happening now, I mean, the rebroadcast will show it, and it just happens. And I started to lose my thoughts, and I never do that. I've done all these shows. I never lose my train of thought. I mean, I might go on a tangent and go in a different direction, but I never where was I? And I don't know. I can't put I literally lost the entire syntax, and it was almost like a whoosh. Don't talk about that. Whoosh, or just don't let that, or that thought is gone. I literally could say that I experienced it like it was a whoosh. I'm trying to get a thought out, and it's whoosh, it's gone. I'm trying to think of something, and whoosh, it's gone. That's how it felt, and that's exactly how it felt.
Well, here's the thing, Howard. I mean, I can speak from something that happened many, many years ago, and of course I can't remember how this happened, but I do know that they have technology. It's, you know, it's psychoactive. You could call it psychoactive and technology, where you know, they have computer interface, or you know, with the brain, and they have technology that's called electronic dissolution of memory. That sounds almost like what you just described, but they would use it in mind control victims to wipe out a memory of a certain event, so that you could not remember in the future what actually happened. That was done, you know, on purpose.
Oh,
So
yes.
We've got all kinds of technology. There's absolutely no doubt. I'm just not the expert on the technology that could tell you what it is, what precisely that it is. But I do know that it exists, and I hear all kinds of stories from people on a regular basis who are being basically assaulted. It's an assault.
Well, I'm telling you, and it's like, I know, and I'm projecting maybe, but even like right now, Barbara, right now, I feel like my voice is slurring, but I know because of yesterday that I don't sound like I'm slurring, right? But I feel like I'm slurring, but all day and today, you know what I do at work. Today I had a fantastic day at work, which my job requires a lot of obviously mental skill and what I need to do. And I was on par today, 100%, came home all ready to rock. And then this whole thing is happening only when I'm doing this. And it's not like, it's not like a vertigo or anything, but there's something going on. And I feel it. I feel it.
What about trying to change the subject to something that would be entertaining and instead of talking about this? Because I just
I understand. You're right. Yeah.
I have this feeling to go on about this. It's not going to be good. If you know what I'm saying, Howard.
Okay. I guess, I mean, I'm like getting a message, I suppose. I mean, not from you, of course, or multi-messages, but yeah, I don't know, but it's sort of, I mean, really, I'm a little freaked out, you know?
You couldn't get hold of your friend.
No.
Right?
And I called him all day. Listen, I called him all day, and and he's very well known. He's attacked a lot. And we were going to go into some stuff, and he's very, very reliable. I spoke to him all week. I spoke to him on Monday. I spoke to him on Tuesday, and was unable to reach him at all today. And he knew he was coming on. I promoted the show, and he was happy to come on and talk, about, Timothy Patrick White, because we all have a connection to Timothy Patrick White.
That's right. I remember I got the email from you today. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get on here tonight because just the old arthritis story, Howard. It's hard for me to sit, in front of a computer for too long, but it's not so bad right now. And I certainly was interested in hearing his story about Tim White, the psycho stalker.
Well, exactly, and Timothy Patrick White told Chris Freedom Flowers that he basically called him a hey, it's happening again, Barbara. It's happening again because I'm about to say what I know clearly to say, and I can't say it. I can't think of it. It's not coming to my head. I kid you not. I swear to God, and I said it. I spoke to him about this very clearly yesterday. It's Timothy Patrick White. He said that he called him a drama queen, Barbara. All right, I'm holding my head so I can think.
Okay. So
he called him a drama queen. The cross-dressing Timothy Patrick White called Chris a drama queen and sent put pictures of Chris in drag on the internet and did all this stuff. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, Howard. Why would Tim White target this particular individual, Chris?
It started with somebody named Wigan Pete, and Wigan Pete was attacking him. The basic story is he's very well known in the community on Facebook. He had a lot of groups with lots and lots of people, the maximum amount of people, and he was targeted by these trolls. And they created phony accounts in his name. His account was deleted from Facebook like 16 times. This is all I put this on while it was happening. Some of these things I mentioned because they were actually happening, and he sort of dropped off the radar for several months, and then called me and said he's ready to come back. And now and again, I haven't heard from him for many months, and then I heard from him each day, calling him and speaking with him, and now he's not getting back to me. I'm a little concerned. He's not on Facebook anymore. I have his phone number, and it's just going to voicemail. So yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried about the whole thing. When you start adding all these little ingredients, it doesn't make a good pie, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Tim White just came out of the woodwork and I guess
Some years ago. This wasn't recently. This was in like 2006 or 7. He said.
Well, you know, when I hear these stories, Howard, it's like I'm so used to hearing these stories. I never cease to be amazed.
I'm sorry, but I'm not used to this. You know, I mean, really. I mean, it's one thing you want to attack my character. It's one thing you want to post bullshit about me, whatever. But this is really like, you know, you're getting to the point of, you know, harassment and to,
maybe
you know.
Maybe we can entertain the listeners with Tim White stories.
Oh yes, let's please do.
Maybe it won't be so bad. But there was this one fellow up in Canada. I think it was Vancouver. I believe his name was Alfred Weber. And anyway, there was a conference. It was a 911 like truth conference that they had in Vancouver a few years ago. Anyway, Tim White, who, you know, fled the country, and I think it was 2006, because he's a fugitive from justice. This guy is like a predicate felon. He had all kinds of restraining orders from people that he was stalking all over the country. And anyway, so he went to Canada, a fugitive from justice. And then he basically is like a gate crasher, you know. He went and he crashed this conference in Vancouver. And first, before he crashed the conference, he sent an email, I think, to the conference organizer stating that he was going to be there, and he was warning them about disinformation agents that would be at the conference. So anyway, he goes to the conference and he starts harassing the organizer and these other people that are there. And finally, they I think they called the police. They called somebody. It wasn't the Canadian Mounties. It was some other police organization they called. And the police showed up, but Tim White had fled before the police, you know, showed up there. So then somebody wrote something on the internet. Another guy wrote how, did you know who this guy is, Tim White? Oh, yeah, he's been stalking me for years. I'm getting harassing phone calls. I'm getting death threats. This is like a universal modality that, you know, a methodology that how Tim White operates all over the place.
He also lies constantly because, again, to talk about Chris, because I spoke to him about this. I mean, I did have the pleasure of spending a good half an hour talking to Chris. So I mean, I know he was anxious and looking forward to this. So I never know what's happening with him. He really had some problems back, like in a few months ago, and I'm hoping that there's nothing wrong. But seriously, I mean, it was like some issues that I don't know if I should even go in. I don't think I won't go into them right now.
No,
but
I don't think that would be a good idea.
No, I won't.
No.
But I'm sort of like really like freaked out because we were, again, if it wasn't for this gentleman, and I tell you, I would not be speaking with you or anybody else and talking to these people and trying to, or feeling like all of a sudden all my research and information that I'm trying to get out to the people, I'm reading it and like it's like my head is getting mumbo jumbo and like I could talk to you. It's better now, but there's like it's very strange. The whole thing. It's like the oddest.
Well, I can understand that, Howard, but like for me, the best medicine, if things like that are happening, is I like to be entertained, or I like to be able to laugh about something.
I guess that's a good idea.
Well, yeah. It works for me, Howard.
No, it works for most people. No, seriously. I mean, I guess nobody wants to listen to me bitch and moan about potentially being attacked by some sort of a weapon,
So bizarre. Some of it is so bizarre that half the time I end up laughing about it because it's you couldn't even make this stuff up.
I mean, it's again, it's like that's the thing because it's crazy. It makes you look nuts. Like what is this bullshit? But it's not. I mean, you can literally. I mean, I'm telling you, when it's happening, you feel it like it's like a whoosh feeling, and you like that thought's gone. You know, whoosh, whatever you were thinking at that moment just goes away. It's almost like they're pushing a button, I swear to God. I mean, that's how it feels. I'm okay now. I don't want to talk about it. Like you said, let's move off it.
Yeah.
Tim White, again, Chris Freedom Flowers, my good friend, is responsible for me getting onto Informed Radio, and eventually, of course, we are Change Connecticut, getting hold of Informed Radio and purchasing it and owning it. And then, again, the whole thing, the whole truth. He was the one that said, you know, your videos, you should play your videos on your show. And he gave me all these ideas, and he made me the administrator on all of his groups when he left. So I mean, from George Norrie down to like all these ancient aliens to all that side to the New World Order, like thousands and thousands of people. And he entrusted me with that, and it was good. And nobody's really bothered me until now, recently. I mean, very recently.
Yeah. Well, Howard, you know, you're very talented as a talk host, and the reason is that you're very spontaneous. You know, you're like a natural. You're not stiff in your delivery, or you know, you're very just spontaneous, and you're very good at it.
Well, thanks. I mean, I'm a guitarist, really. I'm a musician. I just, you know, really what I want to do, and now I actually have. I'm fortunate. The band Azure Soul, Azure, as in Azure, the blue Azure, as in Jim Morrison's Forests of Azure. Azure Soul is a band of a Liberty band. The music is now, everybody agreed to focus the music on the New World Order. So that's becoming like the creative outlet. But really, I'm a musician, and this is I'm overwhelmed by what I learned, and I tell you, I can't understand how anybody could learn what I've learned and then continue to research and not tell the whole world about it, not try to open people's eyes to how important it is and what it really means. I mean, oh my God, we talked about so much stuff. It's hideous. And people are like, oh, well, whatever. And yesterday, I'm watching TV after the show. I'm watching the military channel, or I like to call it the Hitler channel. It's just interesting because all they show is basically old Nazi films. And they had Avril Harriman talking about how they, you know, took care of the Nazis. And I'm like, Avril Harriman took care of the Nazis? And I'm like, my God! But you know what? A few years ago, I would have said, wow, Avril Harriman, he's a good guy. He took care of the Nazis. Yeah. And that's why I'm doing this.
Yes, Howard, I understand. You know, see, for me, it's just I'm so used to, for so many years, I'm just sort of used to holding everything in. I mean, I do go out and expose things, and I have done that. But for the most part, I just know that most people, if you approach somebody and you start talking about something like this, they don't want to listen to you. It's too threatening, and they're going to say, oh, you know, you must be nuts. Oh, no, that couldn't be happening. Oh, no. So I guess I've just settled into this thing where I go on shows, I write articles, but aside from that, I don't really think about it too much about telling people. It's the way I look at it is I offer it, it's out there, and people can make of it what they will, but I certainly hope that people will take an interest. And I especially hope with all the propaganda that's out there in the so-called truth movement or patriot movement or whatever you want to call it, there are so many propagandists that we talked about this on one of the shows, that they're actually like Nazis, like neo-Nazis, and they're trying to slide this propaganda in with all the other truthful information. And that's what I really focus on. I focus on individual liberty, God-given rights. We all have God-given rights, each and every person. Doesn't matter the gender, the race, the religion, everybody has the same rights. And if you can't defend that, there's nothing that you can defend.
Well, we talked about that deeply, and that's absolutely true. And it is individual rights, but we have a collectivist New World Order who's interested in this socialism. And anybody out there, whether if you're still in the false left-right paradigm, I mean, just what's happened lately is so confusing. Like with the Rand Paul thing, I know that Harry Link on Death to the New World Order, which airs in about 17 minutes here on truthbroadcastnetwork.com. He's just all gone about the psyop about Ron Paul, and it's a very interesting way to look at it. And I think there's a possibility of strange things. They're saying it's a political move. I think it's just a move of confusion to confuse the people.
You see, I never pay any attention to anything like this. I mean, I heard about this like everybody. I don't pay any attention to it. And I'm not a Ron Paul supporter. I'm not. I don't vote anyway. Okay? So I hear something like this and I just kind of shrug. Like, okay, so what? So what? Because they're all politicians, you know? And something like this comes up. And I guess you could be outraged. I'm sure that Ron Paul will lose some of the supporters that he does have. I mean, if his own son, it appears to be some kind of a betrayal, you know.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre, Barbara.
It does seem strange, yeah.
And you know, meanwhile, I was so happy because anyone that was thinking of if this wasn't like some sort of just a diversionary New World Order tactic, like a lot of my friends, including a bunch of people, believe this was again just a big psyop. The whole Ron Paul thing. You know, Liberty is alive, and they make an iconic figure. Barbara, we talked about this. These iconic figures, you know.
But that's the problem. You see, and I've said this over and over again, is that you shouldn't make an icon out of anybody. Not Ron Paul, not one of the so-called truth patriot celebrities like Alex Jones or David Icke or Jeff Rentz or any of these people. None of these people are icons. They're not heroes. They're just regular people, and most of them are running a scam of some kind or another, or they're a shill. You have to look for your own truth. Look inside yourself. Do your own research. Trust your own intuition. Ask God for a love of the truth. These people aren't going to help you.
No, it's absolutely true, and I got to tell you, you know, I learn truths every day, and I say it a lot. You cannot defend a lie. There are lots of people, unfortunately, Barbara. It goes back to the society's feelings. Like, a little small digression. You look how people are so strange. There's a story of this last year in Greenwich, or a year or so ago in Greenwich. You know, the parents all got these new Cayenne Porsches, right? So, oh my goodness, one got a Porsche, so they all had to buy the Porsche, you know? They had to buy the new one because that was the status for that particular thing. And it actually made the newspaper, which I thought was disgustingly decadent. And
so typical how I lived in Greenwich for quite a long time. I lived there full time for about 5 years, and then meanwhile I was commuting to Greenwich, where I worked. Okay, and anyway, I know what those people are like. They're just these snobby type of people. It's all like keeping up appearances and all that stuff. So what you said, there was a time, I'll give you another example. There was a time, instead of the Porsche, there was a time when all the housewives had to go out and buy like a Range Rover, because that was the trendy thing. This was back like maybe in the 80s or early 90s. They all had to have the Range Rover, okay? And it's so stupid because they're like lemmings, you know? They're following a trend which they don't recognize has been engineered.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about, the
Yeah.
engineering. And look what they do. Like, it's the funniest thing. It took me a long time. I mean, I worked for Prudential Insurance. I was a sales manager. I was like not I was like part of this New World Order cog in a couple of companies I worked for, not realizing that I'm a cog in Metropolis, the movie Metropolis, which I recently realized was as a public domain film, and everybody can share it and use it and do whatever you want with it. And there's so much imagery about transhumanism.
When was that made?
What was that?
When was that movie made?
1926. And I posted it on my YouTube page in its entirety. You can go there on Freedom First Films on YouTube. And it's about a 2-hour film. But what's interesting, aside from the fact that it reveals such things as Molech, which is unbelievable, eating the slaves and burning them in the fires of its mouth pit, unbelievable.
When was it made? I'm sorry, Howard. I just had another call coming in. There's a distraction.
Oh, it was
Go ahead.
1926.
Wow. Then it's really. Oh, I haven't seen it. I knew I hadn't seen it, but
I tell you, it's a silent film, and it's hard for, I guess, people of this generation or this technology to look at it. But the imagery, the opening sequences is of machines that are moving, Barbara. I'll give you this is how they're telling you what they're planning. It's transhumanism. If you saw the film, you'd know the symbolism right away, immediately. It's the woman Maria, interesting, Mary, right?
mm-hmm.
The central character, literally at the end of the movie, gives up her body and soul to become a robot. That's basically the end result, and they worship the robot.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look back at the Nazis again, and the genetic engineering and the eugenics programs, that they're God only knows what they've got now. I know they're working on transhumanism. That I know for sure. But I mean, if you go back even 50 or 60 years, they were still doing it then. And they had certain things that they could do, enhancement they called it. They could put implants, hard wiring inside of people's bodies that was very difficult to detect. So I don't know what they have now. I really don't.
Oh, it's crazy. God knows what. But this movie was again, just to for a little interesting tidbit, is so chock full of stuff about the decaying of decaying society, and that the workers all live in the bowels of the earth, and the machines they're there to just basically move the machines for the elite who live literally in a palace in the sky. It's just an incredible. They call it a dystopia, but it's really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think I would want to see that, Howard.
No, you would freak out if you saw it because it's got all these images.
Interesting to me, and I can tell you why. I haven't even talked about this publicly much. Years ago, I guess I was on a radio show. It must have been over 10 years ago. I remember talking about it, and it is very distressing to me. But these are things that I witnessed, and it's hard for me to describe how I witnessed it, because it was almost like a vision, but I knew it was real, all right? And so what it was underground. It was horrible, Howard. They had cages underground, and I know I got corroboration from some other people that knew about this because it had happened to them, and I had seen certain people actually in my visions. I'd seen certain individuals that I later met. I'd first seen them in a vision, and I later met them.
Hello?
And they corroborated what I had said that I had seen, and part of what I saw, aside from they had people in cages. They had mixed genetics. They were partly human and partly animal, and it was truly horrific, Howard. And I do know that is going on or was going on, And you hear these stories about these underground bases of aliens and all that stuff. All that stuff is true. But it's much worse. It's much worse than most people could ever imagine. And to me, it's just a hell. They've created a hell on earth. And I can only pray that God's justice will take care of these satanic people who are involved in this.
And that's what they are. They are satanic people. I mean, I know, I'm going back to the thoughts of when I first started waking up and started to actually have this urge to tell people. I was very reluctant to talk about certain things because of the way people feel, and I'll admit that I was sort of reluctant to show to people this like weird thing that happened to me the last couple of days, and I won't ever do that again. I learned that it is what it is. If people are going to think what they're going to think, but
I think it's a good thing to talk about it, Howard.
Yeah.
Even publicly, if you see it happening and something is going on, and you find somebody, a friend, that you can speak about it to that person. Mm-hmm. There may be a lot of people listening out there, or who will be listening once it's in the archive, that would relate to that.
You're right, because it happened to them probably. I mean, again, that's true. Again, I don't want to go back to it. I think you're right. I do feel better now. I'm not what I planned to do, though. Interestingly enough, which was to read from this work, including tragedy and hope quotes and all this other good stuff about all the current, a couple of things going on, and then talking about some other things. I just uncharacteristically was unable to do it, and I found myself scatterbrained, for lack of a better word. And that's just like, and now we're talking lucidly and nice, and I feel fine. How do you quantify that? I thought I was having a stroke.
You might not be able to, Howard.
Yeah, I guess I thought I was having a stroke. I really was.
I'll pray for you. I'm going to have to go now. I know you only have 5 minutes left.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I have another call coming in.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for joining me.
It's in regard to another show that I have to do tomorrow, so I should take the call. But
absolutely.
Thank you for inviting me this evening, Howard.
Oh, you're very welcome. I just thank you for...
I'm going to pray for you tonight, okay?
I'm sorry?
I'm going to pray for you tonight.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you. And again, this is Barbara Hartwell. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay.
And I'll talk to you again soon.
Good, Howard.
Take care. Good night. Okay, that was Barbara Hartwell. Yeah, she, again, the reason I gave her a shout was because you have absolutely no idea what this wonderful Christian woman has been through. This beautiful, God-loving woman has been put through just to expose what has happened to her and other things. And we're in the thick of this. She's a part of our network here that we share getting information out. She's a partner in actually she's technically not a partner of We the People Network, but others are, and that are in the same grouping. And again, Roger Landry is a tremendous help, and thanks out to Lynn Nichols and to Rob DeMarco at We the People Network, who share all these broadcasts, including the one that we're having right now. And yeah, I don't know what happened, guys. I swear to God, I swear on my eyes, my honor, my soul, that there was something happening here that I don't understand. And I guess, like Barbara said it best, let's best not quantify it. I hope it doesn't happen again. I hope that Chris Freedom Flowers is okay, because I haven't heard from him, and he was supposed to be calling. I gave him the numbers, and I talked to him and confirmed it yesterday, and then started promoting it, so I'm a little concerned about that. I don't know. It is what it is. After all, I don't know what to say. A big distraction, of course. I didn't get to what I was saying. I've got a couple of minutes. I'm going to actually attempt to try to get some of this information out in the 2 minutes that I have. But what's interesting about this, I was trying to get into the point of talking about how these bankers use the governments to basically get their control. Now, once they have control of the governments, then they play them off against each other, having wars and all this other stuff. And this is all on record. People such as Amschel Rothschild, who started the entire basic role of the collectivism of the banks of the world, and created the central banks in all of these main countries like Italy and, of course, London, England, and Paris, France. And the central banks then now have control of these countries. They put the people into debt by waging war and fighting against one another. Way too much information to go into, but I will attempt to go over all of it tomorrow and in its entirety, discussing the importance of all of this information, which goes down to the breaking down of the people that are involved, again, just like I did with Eustace Mullen's work. And I hope everybody can join us tomorrow from 9 to 10. And let's hope that there are no problems here with what was going on, and I can have a good, straightforward, cohesive broadcast like I normally do. Thank you to Pam Suggs at UnitedTruthSeekers.com, and of course thank you Harry Link, who is now live with Death to the New World Order here on TruthBroadcastNetwork.com.
say my name.